Welcome to Entreprogrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, with your hosts, Josh Earl, Derick Bailey, and John Sonmez, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
Hey, John Sonmez here, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor for our podcast, Signalleaf. Without Signalleaf, we wouldn't have a place to host our podcast, and as you know, Signalleaf is actually from one of our own here at Entreprogrammers. It is the creation of Derick Bailey. So Derick is actually the owner and creator of Signalleaf, and it's a podcast hosting service. So if you are interested in creating your own podcast, go on over to signalleaf.com and sign up for an account today and check out how easy it is to get started. The thing I really like about Signalleaf is just how easy it makes it for hosting your podcast. Of course, I have my own podcast, Get Up and Code, that I host at Signalleaf, and I've been very happy with it. We're hosting Entreprogrammers there as well. And so thank you again, Signalleaf, for sponsoring this show. And don't forget to check out Signalleaf at signalleaf.com if you're interested in starting your own podcast.
Live.
So now I feel like the odd man out since I didn't bother to bring my road back over to the desk.
Oh yeah. What are you doing there? You amateur
hour, man. I know.
Amateur.
I was recording Watch Me Code screencast earlier, and I just brought everything back over so that I could have good Wi-Fi for this.
You want to see amateur? Here's amateur. This is amateur. Hold on.
What's happening?
I'm afraid.
This is amateur. I've got shorts, gym shorts on.
Nice.
This is how you do like an interview over.
Okay, for anybody not watching the video,
Yeah.
John is wearing a very nice button-down, button-collared shirt. Looks good, and then he stands up and he's wearing gym shorts. Classic work-at-home style, right there.
Yeah, that's the beauty of interviewing over Skype. Like,
Exactly.
I've seen photos of like TV reporters that are wearing like a suit and tie above the
Right.
waist, and then like shorts and sandals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just did. Well, we went. I was just in Philadelphia yesterday. I flew there in the morning and came back in the evening. It's kind of crazy, but to go to Dream It, which is like a startup accelerator, for health. That's my secret little. I don't think I ever talked about it on the podcast, or
I think you talked about it last week briefly.
Yeah, you
Oh,
never
I did.
mentioned it to us before.
Yeah, what's up with that, man?
Yeah, I don't know, I mentioned it once or twice just so that I was an advisor on the company, but I'm actually more involved in it now, and I might be even more so depending on how things go. But we went and interviewed for there, and that went pretty well. So
Nice.
And I got a Philly cheesesteak sandwich.
A real one.
Yeah, a real one with Cheese Whiz.
Yes.
I think if you make a Philly cheesesteak sandwich somewhere else with Cheese Whiz, people are like, "What the Cheese Whiz?" Yeah, I don't think I would get that, but and then we had there's another startup accelerator called Healthbox Tampa that we just talked to today. So we'll see. I don't know. Just add that to my list of things that will prevent me from ever truly retiring. So
Yep. The list of things in your empire that will earn you $1 billion a month.
how'd your guys' weeks go?
It's all right. I spent most of the week panicking over Signalleaf crashing constantly.
Oh,
Ooh.
great.
It's this series of cascading failures, and it drives me nuts. So it started with my database having problems because I'm an idiot, and I never bothered to upgrade my database from the free version that I was using with my host to anything that would be, really useful in a production environment. So I ran into the quota limitation for number of records and size limits and things like that on Wednesday, and ended up Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember, but ended up having to create a new database instance and do a backup of the existing one, restore it into the new one, and then switch the production environment over to the new instance. Because the service that I'm using doesn't have a way to upgrade the database instance at all. So that was painful and horrifying and not fun. And in the process of doing that, data from all of these transactions of people trying to listen to episodes and get RSS and whatnot was not being saved to the database. The episodes were serving perfectly fine. People could still listen to episodes.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
But when I was trying to shove my tracking records into the database, which is where these 1.2 million records came from, it was blowing up on that because I was at my quota. So when I switched over to the new database, I started getting errors from that because the tracking setup that I use looks for a tracking record in my message queue, pulls it down, processes that, sends it out to the Keen.io service that I use for analytics, and then updates the database to say this tracking record has been processed. Well, there were like 10,000 records in the message queue that were not in the database because the database was at its limit. And so my code started blowing up saying, can't find this record, can't set this property of undefined, can't. It's just this cascading series of failures caused by me running into that limitation. So I've spent the last couple of days cleaning that mess up and making the code a little more resilient and robust and failure-proof, which is a good thing overall. It's better code having gone through this, and it was also really good to see that the way I have things set up still allowed people to get episodes and listen to podcasts even while the rest of the service was borked and crashing like crazy.
Yeah.
So, good things came out of it, but man, it's been a frustrating week.
You should have just called me. I could have given you a solution. One of my previous employers, when they had this problem of using a trial version of a database that had a limit on it, they just packed the data tighter. Just use binary data. Use every single bit field, right? Yeah.
Every single bit is a flag.
If you have a 50 char, column.
That's right.
And you're only filling it with
That's 50 fields worth of data.
There's a whole bunch of bits in there. There's 8 bits per byte in there that you can fill. Just turn off Unicode.
That's right.
Go ASCII. 8 bits per byte. Bam. That's a lot of data. You could store 1 billion records in a couple of hundred rows if you do that.
So what I really need to do to fix this, I haven't done this yet because I haven't had time, is get a cron job set up so that it will delete old records, because I've got a year worth of tracking data stored in this database, and I don't need it because I've got all of that data out on Keen.io.
Yeah.
So they are my analytics service. They've got all of the real data for me. I don't need to keep it around in my database forever. So I need to get a job set up to clear that out, and that'll cut things down to probably a couple of hundred megs instead of
go back to that free database then.
Yeah, there we go.
Back to that free slow thing that's been serving people for a year. That's what I want to do. But it was also really cool to see that the RabbitMQ, the way I had it configured as persistent messages, it kept everything. So all of my transactional data, my tracking data for that was sitting there in the queue. I had 12,000 records sitting in the queue waiting to be processed. And so as soon as I fixed those errors, got everything redeployed, I started seeing the numbers dropping down pretty rapidly. And it took about 45 minutes for the entire backlog of tracking data to get processed into the analytics.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was my week. Other than that, I've had an okay week otherwise. My second email course on JavaScript's This is doing really well. I'm up to 313 subscribers at the moment.
Nice. Dang, that's quick. I mean,
and I've got 562 on my object-oriented design.
And how many are duplicated across the two? Like, how many new people are you getting for the JavaScript one? Do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know if they can show me that in
Yeah,
GetDrip.
I'm not aware of a way to
Okay, Mailchimp whining time.
Yeah.
Well, no, this
Hey,
is
Mailchimp, why can't I take two lists and compare
this is
them
GetDrip.
and say who's on? Get an intersection, a join of them. Basic, mathematical, set-based logic.
Yeah,
Why can't I do that?
it's
Come
an
on,
outer
guys.
join or inner join or something in there. But yeah, that's GetDrip specifically. Mailchimp might be
Yeah.
able to. I don't know if they can or not. But yeah, I've added. So last month when I launched that object-oriented design course, I added 433 people to my mailing list. So far in 6 days of June, I've added 226 people to my mailing list.
Nice.
So I'm up to 2,094 people on the list.
Dang,
And
you're
it'll be
gonna be
tomorrow.
passing me.
Maybe, I hope. It'll be tomorrow Saturday when people start getting the first bunch of people start getting by the way, here's your Watch Me Code discount code.
Yeah.
So hopefully, since this entire series is about JavaScript, and I've been talking about Watch Me Code at the bottom of every single email, hopefully this will start converting some people to customers.
I mean,
You've got GetDrip. You can put that code on on your deep. How are you managing payment for that?
I don't understand the question.
Watch Me Code. So, because you could put tracking. There's a tracking code for GetDrip that you could use that would confirm that people converted from the email. You also, I know you're using the coupon code, but
Right.
if somebody didn't use the coupon code, that would show you for sure that they came from your email.
Right. I think I have that in place already. I had it set up for the thinking and object-oriented design, and I don't know if it'd be the same configuration.
Yeah, I think it
or
should be
not.
the same. Yeah, it should be the same because the way it, or like if you wanted to do a different, you'd have to create a different account with Drip if you wanted to do some other website, basically.
Right.
If you had another blog, like DerickBailey.com, if you wanted to sell a book off of there, you'd create a new account. So, yeah, so it should work.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll find out. I've never been good at setting up tracking stuff, though. I mean, no matter how many times people have walked me through the process, I always get something wrong.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble getting Visual Website Optimizer working with DPD. I finally got it, but yeah, there were like 3 or 4 different steps that you had to get right, and it wasn't intuitive.
I've never been able to get Twitter's conversion tracking. I mean, just flat out cannot get it working at all.
That's weird.
I've had problems with Google Analytics and getting sales funnels and conversions tracked. I've had problems with, I don't know if I'm actually getting the conversion stuff on GetDrip or not. I think I had it set up for the object-oriented design, but I don't even know where to look for the conversion rates. Oh, there it is. 0% conversion rate. So I probably don't have that set up correctly. Because I know
Hopefully
one
not.
person used that code, but they may not have clicked the link in the email. So I have no idea.
I had
One
a
of
bunch
these
of.
days.
I had like one day where I got. I think was it on Wednesday? I got 70 emails added to my mailing list.
Nice.
Or maybe even more. I guess that Hacker News article came out, right? That could link to me, and that got maybe like 1,000 page views or so. But apparently my how not to market yourself blog post got it must have hit Hacker News or something.
Yeah.
Because I saw like 10 or like I think it was 15,000 page views that day.
Nice.
On that article, but I couldn't find it on Hacker News. I was out, but I didn't get a chance to. But I when I looked, I didn't find it. But yeah, that must have. But that was nice because it basically resulted in like 70 email addresses. So
nice. Derick disappeared. Empty chair. There he is.
Yeah, sorry about that. My son's getting out of school early today, and I'm paranoid about phones ringing right now because it's often the case that he ends up having small injuries and is in the nursing office. And so, anyways, what were we talking about?
Oh, just I don't know if I think one of my blog posts from Monday must have got on Hacker News or something. So because I got like 70 email, like 15,000 page views. So that was good. Not too much hate. It made it to Reddit, and then it got like deleted off of Reddit after someone wrote this like scathing, like, you know, typical Reddit-ness. So
yeah, Reddit.
Yeah.
So Josh, how was your week?
Not great. I'm feeling a lot better now about it. But yeah, so this week I've been kind of trying to work on conversion, and focusing mainly on starting to get, like, I realized last weekend I kind of analyzed my traffic, and I realized I've done a really bang up job getting a ton of traffic to my Sublime Text site.
Yeah.
I'm well over 10,000 page views, or sorry, well over 10,000 visits, like unique users a month.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, a couple months ago I was around, 1,500 to 2,000, and I just kind of, what I've done is I've really used my Twitter account, which has like, going on 14,000 followers now. So
Wow.
I've been using that, and I've been tweeting a lot of my old blog posts,
Right.
which
Yeah.
seems to generate at least 250 hits per tweet. So I've been doing 2 of those a day. I set up a big spreadsheet that I use, and I just bulk schedule. So once a month, I just go in and bulk schedule all my tweets of my own blog posts for the month.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I sprinkle in there about 3 or 4 times a week a call to action to join the email newsletter. So between that, and I also merged a couple of blogs that had some other Sublime related content. So between that stuff, I went, I basically 4x'd my traffic at least in just a couple of months. And it seems like every time I make progress on one metric, something else slips to compensate for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I end up making no progress whatsoever. And that seems to be the case here. So I'm getting a ton of traffic to my site, but I can't get email signups anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
my pop-up, which was doing really, really well, has basically just completely tanked. I've tried several different pop-ups, and none of them are converting over 2%.
Okay.
Like go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, and then I'll.
Yeah, so the pop-ups aren't converting anymore. I'm getting maybe a total of like 100, 250 people a month from 10,000 page views.
I would expect that, actually. So let's think about, I mean, what are you doing before versus what you're doing now? I mean, before you had like, what did you say, 1 to 2,000 people coming to the site per month?
Yep.
Okay, they were all unique. They were all coming from like various, like finding you, or you know, I mean, they
but
were.
these are still unique users. I mean, granted, they could be, the 10,000 uniques are unique people, at least according to Google Analytics. Those are not page views.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So within some, it's possible they've been to my site within some time frame, but not relatively recently. And also, the pop-up only shows every 30 days.
Right.
So, if I show it 1,000 times, even if somebody comes back, now that I'm retweeting my blog post, if somebody comes back 3 times, that doesn't count against the conversion rate of the pop-up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even if it doesn't, right? You've got, before, the kind of traffic you were getting was totally, I've never heard of this guy, never heard of, right? Like, I haven't. It's a lot more like new traffic, new to you, new to what's going on. But now when you're retweeting blog posts on your account, a lot of these people have already been following you on Twitter. I mean, so you're driving that traffic. Those same people might visit you on different months, right? So I mean, you're going to hit that point where you're going to get people that have already seen it or have already heard of you, or maybe they've logged on from work and they logged on from their phone and they logged on from their PC. So those are all totally unique views. So they like your stuff. You've already sold them. They're already bought into your stuff, or they're already on your mailing list. So I'm just saying, like, that doesn't mean that it's all of them, but you're gonna have to expect that a significant
there's some
portion
like saturation point.
Yeah.
With my own audience, right.
So that's to be expected from that. But I mean, that's the thing that you can't gauge, which is that even though you're not getting more people to sign up for your list, like I wish there was this scale. Like it's like you're moving people closer to the, like, on the scale of who the heck are you, or I don't like you, to to I like you, to I'm a fan, and if you're getting that engagement, if people are clicking that link, and even if they and if they're clicking the link and unfollowing you on Twitter, then that's different, but
right.
But you're moving them towards that scale, so even people that are already on your list, so that's I mean, I wouldn't be too discouraged by that. I wouldn't if you add more traffic and then your conversion rates drop, it's traffic source. It's not the pop-up. It's not.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Okay, so fully almost half of my traffic goes to one blog post, 2 blog posts.
Okay.
Actually, so probably 60% of my traffic, 60 to 70% of my traffic goes to 2 blog posts. That is all organic traffic.
So it's all SEO.
Basically, it's all SEO. Those aren't converting either.
So the question with those is, what are they searching on? Go into Google Webmaster Tools.
Yeah, it's all SaaS. Like, so the top post on my site that I get about 4,500 hits a month on is how to set up SaaS with Sublime Text.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of keywords that I rank like number 1 for on that. So I get a ton of traffic on that. That traffic does not convert.
Do they bounce?
I don't know. That's a good question. I should look at that.
You need to figure out how long they're staying on your page, because it might just be that they're searching for one thing, they're finding your thing. They have no interest in Sublime Text, right? They're just interested in something else.
My average time on page is pretty good. It's over a minute. It's like a minute and a half for the site as a whole.
Yeah.
But so what I did was I set up for that page, I set up a unique giveaway just for that, like specific to SaaS CSS developers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
And so out of almost, so I get like 150 hits on that a day. So in a week, I have managed about 20 to 25 email signups from half of my traffic to that site. So if I can, it is, so it's so one of the most popular plugins that CSS developers use is this plugin called the Gutter Color, I think it's called.
Right.
And it shows an icon. It shows an icon in when you have a hex color in your CSS or SAS style sheet. So I wrote up a little thing. Basically, I kind of wrote up a line to tease, like said, this plugin will really help you with CSS, and you'll never have to guess at colors again. That kind of thing.
Right.
So it's not like 100% like SAS. I could probably come up with something that was 100% SAS related, but this has been so miserable performing that I don't really think I'm going to bother. Like, why? Even if I added, increased it by 30%, that's like an extra 5 email signups a week. That's really not worth messing around for. So.
But is it worth doing those experiments to see if you could increase that by 300% or 3,000%? I mean, if you have the wrong giveaway, the wrong headline,
Yeah, I know. I keep thinking that too, and everything I try. So this week I decided to try the course idea because I really like that format, and I tried. So I set up a course about how to. It was basically going to be a 7-day course on learning Sublime shortcuts, kind of aimed at beginners who are perfect market for my book, and I set that up first. I set it up with a little pop-up widget, and then I tried an actual like a light box, full screen light box, and out of almost 1,000 visitors, I got one sign up.
Wow.
And I killed it. Yeah, I just decided not to even bother. I wrote I wrote the first email. I got one sign up out of that for almost an entire day, and I said, screw it. This is not worth spending hours writing this to. And that should be. See, that the really discouraging thing is like that actually should be a product that I was actually thinking of making that into a product, like a 30-day email course type of thing, which I think would be really valuable.
There's something going on here. Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that sticks out in my mind is SAS versus SAS. I mean, whoever named that Java, that framework SAS was made everything confusing for everyone because.
Well, not really, because
SASS
was around before people started saying SAAS.
Yeah, but okay, when people type into Google SAS, right?
Yeah.
Two things probably happen. One,
but how to set up
SAS
in Sublime Text? Like that's the keyword. How to set up SAS in Sublime Text is like the keyword that I'm ranking for, or
but
keywords like that.
Go into Google Webmaster Tools.
Mm-hmm. That's how I found this idea. I saw people hitting my site for that keyword, so I thought, okay, I'll write a post for this, and then I posted a couple links on Stack Overflow. I posted an answer on Stack Overflow and linked back to my blog post, and that's how I ranked. And it's doing phenomenally well. It's just not. I can't do anything with the traffic.
Huh. Maybe if you can, you got to get feedback somehow. You got to figure out what people are doing. Maybe throw a heat map on there. Use like Crazy Egg or something like that to track it and see what people are clicking or what they're doing. Because there's some kind of disconnect here. Because if 1,000 people that are interested in Sublime Text see a thing for a free course to get better at using Sublime Text, and one person signs up, I mean there's something weird going on. You're not getting the kind of traffic that you think you are. For some reason, these people are not interested in Sublime Text. I mean, that's the only conclusion I could possibly draw.
I still think your email course idea is something you should do, but I'm going to suggest some different things. Just based on the two that I've launched, I'm not certainly claiming this to be, the way to do it, but this is what I've done for two courses, and it seems to work for me. Step 1, write the whole course. Do that before anything else, because without having the whole course, you're just going to end up, how do you sell the thing? How do you talk about it? What do you really tell people this thing is going to encompass until you have the whole thing written and done, at least outlined to the point where this is what I'm going to write, and then you just write it.
Yeah, I did have it outlined. I knew what all the days were going to be. Okay,
so step 2, advertise the thing. I mean, don't just put it out there with the get drip pop-up or a light box or something like that. I really don't think that those techniques work that well, honestly. I mean, you hear all those marketing people say, yes, you have to have a pop-up and you have to have all these things.
Rob, if the podcast I linked you guys this week, Rob was saying that he converts that pop-up at like 15% on his site, something like that. That he's got the little widget, the little get drip widget that pops up.
Right. If you look at mine, I have a 10% subscription rate on my object-oriented design and a 3% subscription rate on my JavaScript this. But I have 563 people and 313 people respectively.
But those are really good numbers.
Right. But terrible.
I'd be happy. I would have been thrilled with those, with either of those numbers.
Here's the thing,
it's all about pre-qualification, though.
It's
Derek's kind of going to.
It's that, and it's also how you advertise this thing. I didn't just put them out there and hoped that people would.
But when you say those rates, those rates are people that are hitting DerickBailey.com and signing up.
Those rates are any way of people getting signed up. Those are my Twitter ads. Those are people hitting my website. That's everything all in one.
That's for people who view that page who have signed up.
Are you signing people up through a landing page?
I have a landing page. I have a blog post. I have a Twitter lead generation card.
Right.
So those are the 3 forms of advertising that I do.
Okay.
which quite literally is advertising on the Twitter end of things.
Yeah,
I pay $10 a day to
Yeah,
advertise this thing, and I've earned about 100 signups from the Twitter. Actually, 125 signups from the Twitter ads. But
Right.
more importantly, I wrote a landing page for it that has the sign up form in the landing page,
Right.
and I wrote a blog post for this, and I
Right.
spammed the social media networks with my blog post multiple times,
Right.
not just once. I talked about it twice a day for an entire week.
Right.
So I
Well,
really pushed hard to get people to
Right.
sign up for this thing because I believe that there's a lot of value in this, and I'm getting a lot of tremendous feedback from people telling me that there is value.
Right.
So I think just putting that plugin out there is going to miss a lot of people because I think John's right about your traffic. It's not the right people, but also because people haven't yet built that trust if they're just coming to find you from a search engine. If they're seeing this from Twitter, they're going to have a little bit more recognition and a little bit more trust initially because it's going to be from somebody in their social network, if not directly from you.
Right. That all makes perfect sense. But I already have I've already had plenty of success with converting people on Twitter who follow me on Twitter to join my mailing list.
Okay.
Because I can tweet out, and I've got several tweets now that I just send out once a week or a couple times a week.
So
I
why
tweet
are
like
you doing this with the email course?
Because why? I mean, what's the point? Like, what's the point of cannibalizing my own tweets? Now, then that puts me into the position of now I have multiple email lists to manage.
No, you don't.
Well, yeah, I do because there's no way to set up autoresponders such that I can filter out people coming from Get Drip. Like, I've tried. I would like to not have what I was trying to set up was so that people who subscribe to the email course through Drip would not get my daily emails.
Right.
I think that's a worthless goal. I don't think that's. I think you're asking for more work trying to do that than you are just letting people get those daily emails right away.
Well, he's saying.
But they didn't sign up for that.
No.
They didn't sign up for that, and they didn't. They also would be getting 2 emails a day.
Yeah, 2 emails a day is pushing it, I think.
Yeah.
You know, in the 800 people that have signed up for mine, I've had like 25 people unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not sending them 2 emails a day.
On 2 days a week, I am.
On Sublime Text, though, and that's different. That's 2 days a week, and this is on both emails on Sublime Text.
Right.
I mean,
so do it this way then. Give them don't set up the integration with Mailchimp, or set up the integration with Mailchimp and put them into a group that you exclude from your normal mailing list, from your normal mailings.
Right, but I have no way of tagging, knowing when those people complete that other course to move them into some other, they're basically in there. I might as well just have a separate list.
Just make it an upsell.
No, you can. Here's what you could. You can make it so that when you do your new campaign, that you send email if they have been sent the last email in your course, right?
You can do that from Mailchimp, but not from Drip.
Yeah, you could do that from Mailchimp.
But Mailchimp doesn't know anything about the Drip emails.
No, but it knows. Oh yeah, it doesn't know anything about the Drip emails.
And also, as soon as people get added to my Mailchimp list, boom, they're going to get the email that says, "Hey, thanks for subscribing to this other list that you didn't actually subscribe to," because there's no way to not do that either.
Well, let's turn this around because we're kind of going. I mean, what do you think the problem is, Josh?
Well, I honestly think Sublime Text is dying on me. Honestly, so today I did my tweets for the. Today I did the tweets that I do every week, where I log into plug.io, which is my Twitter account management tool, and I go in and I have saved searches, and I go through and I find good content that people have tweeted during the week, and I retweet that. I try to queue up about 30 of them, and Usually I can do that. I used to be able to do that just looking at like the last day or two worth of tweets.
Right.
I went all the way back to last week. This has never happened before. I ran out of stuff to retweet. Like there's not enough stuff being talked about on Twitter. And most of the stuff that I found was like in Spanish or other languages.
Stop targeting the U.S.
So I'm not going to retweet something I can't read.
Right.
And so I actually had to go. So I have like several saved searches. I had to go into one that I don't usually use to try to find content to retweet.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that the interest is dying, and that people are just not because I'm not. Like, I'm working harder and harder and just to get the same result. Like, my sales, I'm working harder and harder and my sales are level, or I think I'm offsetting the decline. But if I wasn't working as hard as I am to market it, which is basically taking all of my time,
is Sublime Text 3 ever going to be released?
Yeah, supposedly they're working on it. John is working on it, from what I've heard, and he's gone down to one developer. He had I think some part-timers that were helping. For some reason, he went down to one developer, just him, and he's working on polishing it up. And they've gone kind of dark, like they're not really communicating until that's released. Yeah.
That's crazy. Can't you just hire 20 developers to work on this thing?
He probably has some very picky standards.
Yeah, he's to maintain. From what I understand, he's very, 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 very particular. And
I gotta go here, but I wanted to ask one more question.
Sure.
With Sublime Text 3 supposedly going forward and being released sometime this year, are people simply looking at Sublime Text 2 as okay, I'll wait?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Is this simply spring fever? I mean, we're right in the middle of a very nice time of year where people don't want to be inside.
Right.
I mean, I'm seeing lower rates on my stuff right now. Watch Me Code traffic is rapidly declining. Well, not rapidly, but it's declining right now. Yeah. Is this simply a dip that you need to push through? Instead of giving up on the decline, continue to push, continue to work, maintain what you're doing at least, and see what happens when Sublime Text 3 comes out. And if you don't get a resurgence at that point, then I think you'd be able to say Sublime Text is on its deathbed. But right now, I think there's a whole lot of conflating issues and circumstances that may be destroying the sales and the traffic and everything. And I think John may be right about your quality of traffic to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, I would expect that there would be some pollution from me, from my strategy, and I was, but I'm not even seeing any from all the work that I've done in the last 3 months. Basically, I'm not seeing any uptick in anything that matters, like email signups, and I just cannot move the needle on those. And so kind of where I am right now is I actually think I'm going to put it on autopilot for a while.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah, I've got like 70 or 80 emails that I've written at this point that I'm going to stick into an autoresponder.
Yeah.
I'm going to still do my weekly, queue up my weekly tweets like I've been doing, so that feeds my funnel. And then I'm going to just sort of set up that autoresponder and let it run.
Yeah.
See what happens. And I'm going to try to cut it back to maybe 2 hours a week, because I'm going to be starting with SitePoint.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard enough to, like, if I was growing this thing even a little bit, I'd be willing to keep putting in as much effort as I am. Like, it's not that, it's just I'm running faster and faster on the treadmill, and it's not, I'm moving backwards, if anything.
Well, and here's the thing, like, this is a thing that
all right. Thanks, Derick.
Yeah.
You know how we've had this debate over, like, should you, like, make a content farm and work on inbound traffic, or or do specific marketing? It's and this is the problem with not doing the content farm approach. Is like, if you do the specific market, I mean, you could have had a lot of success with the specific marketing, but all the hours that you're spending, or not all of them, but a large chunk of the hours you're spending now to market this product have no future return. Or very little future return. Whereas if you spend more of that time marketing indirectly and building things, more blog posts, more.
Yeah, except the blog posts that I have are not working. I mean, the blog, I'm getting 5,000 hits a month on a very specific targeted blog post that people love and have written a lot of comments on, and has gotten a lot of social shares and stuff, but I cannot convert those people to email signups.
But if you had 10 of those blog posts, I mean,
if I had 10 of those, that would be 100 email signups a week, or no, it would be 200 maybe. Yeah, 200, assuming they were all that popular.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's a matter of time. I'm just saying, like, if you fail the one way,
50 to 100,000. I don't think I could build a blog that gets 50 to 100,000 page views a month about Sublime Text.
You might be able to. There's the traffic. I mean, it's the question is more of, I guess what I'm saying is that the activities you're doing, are they, when you're doing the marketing activities, are they activities that even if you fail, they're going to give you something that you have in the future? Or is it not? And that's where, but your daily emails, like, I mean, that makes sense because now that's going to turn into an autoresponder sequence. So
right. Well, and they're also all posted on my blog.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm tweeting them out as I can drive traffic from Twitter with that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I've really, I mean, like the main thing where I've wasted time, I guess, would be pursuing advertising itself. Trying to get paid traffic that I could convert, but I've stopped that because it just wasn't really working for me. It was too expensive on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, where is the majority of your time going on this right now?
So in the last week, most of the time went into emails and then trying different ways to try to convert the traffic that I'm getting into. That's basically all I did this last week, was either write emails or try to convert the traffic that I have into email signups, and I have not
found that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that seems fine then. I mean, definitely the emails are reusable. Mm-hmm. The converting of the traffic, as long as you could get some fairly decent baseline, then it's.
Yeah, I mean, I think like so if I think I need to be like in the 500 to 1,000 signups a month range to be able to grow it.
Yeah.
And I'm nowhere near that right now. I'm probably more like 200.
Yeah.
And most of the signups I'm getting are coming from Twitter, honestly, which I can't scale up because I can only grow that account as fast as people will follow it.
Exactly.
I can tweet, join my email more often.
But that might have negative effect.
Yeah, it has diminishing returns. I'll get 5 instead of 50. If I do it twice a week, I might get 50, versus 5 times a week, I'll get 5 a day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you're right to put it on autopilot then, and to put that autoresponder sequence into place and see what happens. And maybe when you have that in place and you're not really spending any time on it, you're still at the same level.
Right.
Which I have a feeling you will be. I have a feeling you will drop. Which then means, I mean, then the answer to that question to that is to build more products, right?
Yeah.
To keep doing what you're like, to not focus on the marketing and go to the product drawing board. You really need to have a more expensive product, but I don't think you're going to be able to have one with Sublime Text.
No. I don't think at this point. I'm not really planning to do any more Sublime related products because I just can't see. I can get the initial bang with the launch because I've got a pretty big audience, but I'm not going to do launch.
Yeah, I mean,
if I can't give away an email course about how to use Sublime, Sublime shortcuts, I'm definitely not going to put a lot of time into building one and trying to sell it.
Yeah, I mean, it may also be that everyone who uses Sublime knows Sublime shortcuts because how to use Sublime without Sublime.
The thing is, I got that idea from people asking me, like people saying to me, every time like I get an email, people reply to my welcome email and they say, yeah, I ask them like what things are you struggling with, and they're like, I can't remember all these shortcuts, or I don't I don't know the shortcuts. Like I've heard that dozens of times, and so I actually thought this was going to kill it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty shocked when it didn't, when it just went absolutely nowhere.
I don't know. Do you have it up right now?
Have what up?
Your pop-up or your thing for this?
I think the pip. No, I turned that off. I have my old pop-up up back, which converts at like it's converting at like less than 2% now. It's like around 1.5 or so.
Well, let me start by doing a search real quick. So if I search on Sublime.
Oh, this could be fun.
Text.
There's probably some smear campaign going on that I don't know about.
And I'm doing SASS.
Yes.
Right, okay, Sublime Text SAS. SAS support for Sublime Text 2. Let's see. How to add SAS support in Sublime Text. This is the third search result. So, okay. This free. Okay, so the pop-up came up right away. It came up a little bit faster than what I think was good because I didn't get to read any of the article.
I thought I had set that to. Oh, you know what? I had it for a while. I had it set to like a 10 or 20-second delay, and I did a new pop-up recently, and I got rid of that. So, sorry. I mean, I cloned my original pop-up, and I lost that delay.
Yeah,
so
I could put definitely need that.
Yeah, but that wasn't helping. I had that, and it was.
Because someone will just X out of there and then install that. Okay, so then when I get to the bottom of the blog post, there's a download link. Oh, that's interesting. Wait a minute. Oh, I see. Click below and I'll show you. See, okay, so I didn't even read the text. I just saw a big arrow that said download, and that made me click it.
Right.
Stop guessing text colors.
Converting pretty well. I mean, like for the people that click on it, that's actually converting pretty well. It's converting at like 25%.
Okay, it's just not a lot of people are clicking on it.
Not a lot of people are clicking on it. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, I don't
know what the download indicates though. Maybe change that. But I mean, you're not going to get too many. I mean, they have to make it to the end of the article too. That's where
there's also a thing at the top. I put links at the top and the bottom.
This free download. Yeah,
like a note thing at the top. And I'm not sure. I actually don't know which one's working better. I didn't test. Which one people are actually clicking on. But
I don't know.
Having those two things there on my top ranking blog post got me a net of around 25 email signups for the week. So that's not encouraging.
I don't know. I mean, like, just put it on autopilot. I think, like you said, for now. Let's see what happens. And I don't know. There's not a lot that you can do at this point. You don't even really have enough data yet to. Maybe
I know.
You can make small tweaks and see, over time instead of making a lot of tweaks. And I mean, I don't know how much time you're giving between each one of those tweaks. And
yeah, I'm kind of like I'm trying to like with the drip campaign. I waited. I got about 500 hits on it before I changed it to a light box, and then I waited and got another 500 hits on that before I pulled the plug. So I'm trying to, they're not exactly statistically significant numbers, but they're enough that I can get a feel for whether it's working or not.
Yeah.
And I haven't changed anything with the way that SAS page is set up. I've let that go for a full week, and it's gotten, it's probably gotten 2,000 page views at this point.
Yeah.
So I have a pretty good idea how that's working. And then the pop-ups, I'm letting those go for a couple days before I change anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I say just move on for now, and I mean keep thinking about a product that's in that touches the bubble of Sublime Text that isn't Sublime Text that you could charge a higher price for. So I mean, as long as it has some crossover with your existing audience, that's going to be your best bet, I think. And then you need something at a higher price point.
Yeah,
for sure. So
what I'm actually thinking of doing at this point is I'm actually thinking that for a little while anyway, I'm going to focus on, since I'm going to be starting with SitePoint here, going to be kind of digging a lot deeper into the bootstrapper startup world, and marketing and stuff like that. And I'm thinking I'm going to actually just invest some energy in my blog
that makes sense.
And then try to use that as a platform for some affiliate stuff. Because like lead pages, for example, that's a $15 a month recurring commission. So if I got 200 people signed up for lead pages through my affiliate links, that's a pretty nice chunk of monthly income. So
as long as, I mean, you don't know what their
churn rate and stuff.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's low because I don't use lead pages anymore, but I'm stuck on it.
Did you buy the full year?
I'm waiting to cancel my membership, but I'm like too lazy to take my pages off and put the Optimize Press one in because I can do just the same thing with Optimize Press, but so I'm too lazy to do that. But eventually I will, and I'll stop paying $75 a month for the premium version.
Man, I wish that you signed up with my referral link. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to try that for a while, and that would put me. It would. Yeah. My focus would be less split that way, because I'd be what I'd be doing with my blog would be pretty related to what I'm doing for SitePoint. So
well, this is the opportunity to grow. I mean, you're going to learn a whole bunch of stuff from just doing the SitePoint thing. You're going to build your reputation up a lot, which that's one of the things that Derick and I have going for us is the reputation aspect of it. That it makes things a lot easier. Just because if you have if you're well known to some degree in the industry, then you already have your foot in the door.
Right.
Because someone might have heard of you before. Sometimes like when I follow people on Twitter now, it's like, I watch your Pluralsight courses, or that's cool. John Sonmez is following me, and so that's put them like a couple of leaps ahead of just a cold call. So that's one thing that I think that is working is working against you. But having the SitePoint is going to be something that's going to elevate your name. People are going to know. More people are going to know who you are, I think, which will, and this podcast. This podcast is helping as well. So, but I think that's going to help you with whatever you do, because you have people that are just following you specifically, not Sublime Text necessarily.
Right.
So I think that that makes sense. You put your focus there, and then you'll see. I don't know, your perspective will change too. And plus, if you're hitting this, you're banging your head against the wall. I can tell on this thing you're hitting it too hard. You need to back off a little bit to see what happens.
I have hit it really hard in the last 3 months. And, which I'd be willing to continue to do. It's just,
if you're seeing progress,
if I was seeing some progress, instead I'm seeing like a slow drop in my sales.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I know for a fact that last year in June I had a bad month. It was my first big bad month last year after I launched my first book. So I know there is like a summer lull, So there's that, but then there's also the uncertainty about Sublime itself. And sort of the lack of activity that I'm seeing, the lack of buzz that I'm seeing online is definitely, not encouraging.
Well, see what happens when Sublime Text 3 drops, too. Just make sure you put yourself in a good position to take advantage of Sublime Text 3 dropping.
Yeah.
Don't screw yourself there, because it might reignite the market. Products have product life cycles. That's the thing is consumer products especially, there's a point where it peaks and then it dips off, and then you have to introduce a new version of whatever to so you might just be in that lull before the new release where because you're piggybacking off of their
right.
So the more customers they have, the more new Sublime Text users, the more people that are likely to go to your
I really, in the future, I knew that was a risk with these products that I was piggybacking off of something else. And I think, at some point that's going to die, that's inevitable, it's going to die. That's a problem with technology in general, though. If you write something about a specific framework, that'll die eventually too. So.
But who's using Sublime Text? It's mostly programmers, right? It's a lot of web programmers. You could probably even characterize it. It's less Microsoft-y people. It's more Unix-y, web development, HTML5-y people, Python-y, Ruby, PHP.
Yeah, it's about 50-50 Mac, actually.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but that opens up doors for other opportunities, and I think, I mean, one thing we all learned from my launching of a product is that price really makes a huge difference. So I mean, I think I would say that the next thing that you do, you need to just have it be a premium product, like something high priced,
right?
Because then your efforts will be, I mean, they'll be multiplied.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, actually, what I want to do is continuity. I think I'm gonna shoot for that. I mean, I'll probably do some more one-off products, like launch products, but at long term, I really want to get to where I have some recurring revenue model, because it stinks to have to constantly scrape for, like with this product, I have to constantly beat the bushes for new prospects versus nurturing relationships with existing customers. So I can still make money with existing customers, but I have to release a new product to do that.
Yeah,
so I'm trapped in this. It's kind of a hamster wheel.
Yeah, to some degree, it's almost the same thing because you have the whole of customers dropping off. You have the churn.
Yeah.
So even a SaaS or even a subscription service, it seems really good, but really, like, it all comes down to lifetime value of customer, I think. I mean, it can all be equated to that. So really, there's no when you look at it like from that perspective of lifetime value of customer, there's no difference between a SaaS and a subscription service and a product that you sell, except that one of them puts you on the hook to keep on producing content or provide support. So I don't know. After I was kind of in the same boat. I was like, man, I need a SaaS, I need a subscription, but I'm kind of leaning backwards, backing off that now, and saying, well, when I look at lifetime value of a customer, it points to product, because product is something you create once and then you sell it. You support is minimal. You don't have to keep on updating and producing. So, but that is, you have to have a product that only applies for a product of a high enough value.
Right.
Because then it compares to the lifetime value of a customer. Because a subscription service, if you think about it like a $10 a month subscription service, which is kind of the range that most of us I think would try to hit for consumer, maybe $10 to $20. Probably, if you do something really successful, a year is probably what you're really aiming for. Like, it's you can't really count on like 2 years or 3 years of using your service. So if you said 1 year at $10 a month, that's $120 a year. So if you could just sell a product for $120, you're in a better position, overall.
Yeah.
Plus, you can sell them another product. Whereas if you're a subscription service, you can't sell them. You can't. Once they cancel, they're not buying from you again.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I'm in a better space now than I was. I was pretty frustrated yesterday. I emailed you guys about it, but I kind of worked through that, and putting this on autopilot and just kind of taking a wait and see will help me get my head. It helped me not feel like so negative about it. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you got good things coming up. I mean, that site point thing is huge, right? That's great. That's the thing to focus on. Like, don't dwell on the negativity on this. I mean, even if this were the end of the railroad tracks for your Sublime Text products, you had a pretty dang good run.
Yeah.
First product that you've ever shipped coming from. I mean, you really can't complain about it. I mean, you put a lot more hours into it lately, but a lot of that was just chalked up to learning experience, because there was a point where you were kind of flying on almost autopilot, just doing a few Twitter things, and you were still making good money on it. So, I don't know. For me, looking at what you've done, the time that you've put into it versus the money you've gained alone seems to be good. And then the learning that you've gained makes it exceptional. So
Yeah.
I mean, you've earned your MBA in by writing a book, 2 books.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. It's been like I've earned, I think I'm around 27,000 now total for the 2 books.
yeah,
And that's hard to complain about. And then the test ground that this has given me to learn all this marketing stuff has been great. So
yeah.
no
I mean,
regrets, but
yeah.
it would be nice if it would keep going.
Yeah, and it will. I mean, it's not like it's just
Yeah.
going to drop off of the face of the earth, right?
Yeah.
If you'll notice a trend. I mean, one thing I do with all my investments, whether it be real estate, whether it be the Pluralsight courses, or anything else that I've got going, my blog and everything, is I'm tracking like the 12-month running average. I'm tracking, just month to month to see, and I know that as long as things are going up each month, I'm in the, I haven't hit the peak yet. But everything eventually hits a peak, and then it either it plateaus or it starts to trickle down. And when it trickles down, you can kind of see what the trajectory of it is, and you know how long you've got on life support. I mean, you're not going to go from a couple $1,000 or $1,000 a month down to nothing. It's going to go to 900 and 800 and 700, and then but you're still making money. Even my stupid apps, right? that I wrote like 3 years ago now, the Pacemaker, the Run Faster app. Those things are still selling. It's still making at least $100 a month most months, and it's
you support what, iOS 3?
Yeah, I haven't updated the things, and I don't even have the source code for them. I'm not even.
Oh my gosh!
But I'm not going to yank them from the store because they're still making money. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. That's the thing is like there's some of the things that I could be putting a lot of effort into marketing it and improving it and stuff, and I might be able to sell more of it or whatever. I might be able to, instead of doing $100 a month, do $200 or $300 a month.
Right.
But there's something to be said about not doing anything at all and it earning $100 a month. So that might be the same thing. Like sometimes the effort, like if it's on the downtrend, on the plateau, you can work really, really hard to push that rock up the hill, or you can just say, hey, let's just let it roll and let's move on to something else. So I don't know. I don't know if you're at that point yet. We'll see. But at this point, it definitely makes sense to do a trial and just let it go. And it becomes the point when you're not spending any time on it and you're still making money. Then it becomes a pretty dang good proposition.
Right.
So.
yeah. It's just It's been an intense couple of months here, so I'm gonna slack off on that one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How's your book writing?
I'm done. I'm tired.
You're tired of it?
Keep going. I'm still doing like a chapter a day, pretty much.
Okay.
Some days 2 chapters. I just finished chapter 52 on my plane ride home. So, and they're like, I think I'm in the financial section of the book. Each chapter is close to 3,000 words now. So.
Oh man. Okay.
It's because there's so much. I mean, when you explain options and stock market and real estate investment, in one chapter or one chapter each, there's a lot to say, just to give the basics. So I might actually cut out a few chapters in the financial section, depending on how on what I've felt like I've covered and stuff. But I'm coming close to the end of this thing, I guess, right? Because I think there's 76 chapters as I have in my outline, and I'm at 52.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. So I'm getting there. I'm gonna keep on. I'll eventually get there. 1 week. I just keep on thinking 1 week from now you'll be in chapter 60 or so if you keep on going, and then
Nice. So how much time are you spending a day on that?
To write a chapter, it takes me about I'd say 2 hours on average, maybe 2.5 hours. So
what's your writing process like? Are you pretty much just like a straight? Do you outline first, or do you kind of charge straight through because you've been doing this for so long?
I pretty much charge straight through. Yep. That's just how I do it. And yep. So sometimes I'm like, it could be better, it could be well thought out, but I wouldn't probably make as much progress.
Right.
And I always think I can always go rewrite a chapter if I need to. it's better to just keep the momentum going. So
agreed. Yeah,
and
definitely.
I've been getting good feedback. So. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And is that pretty much what you've been doing lately, or anything else?
Trying to think. Well, let's see. So I'm doing. I mean, that's my primary objective. But then, obviously, I still have the blog post every week. The podcast, newsletter, which I didn't actually send one today. I need to send one. I didn't have time to write one. And then what else is going on? I've got some consulting. I've got a couple of clients now that are in starting in not next week, but the week after. I've got this really big client that is going to be taking up a big chunk of my time.
That's not coding, right? It's more advisory type stuff, or
this one will be a little bit of a combination of building out an architecture and advising on the building of that architecture, like building the skeleton of it. So
okay, nice.
So that'll be good. But yeah, I'm trying to drop that down, but I keep on getting now. I don't actually want to do that work, but like not that I mean I don't want to do like consulting work, but I keep on getting
offers you can't refuse.
yeah, and so I don't know. I'll have to figure out something to at some point, because I do want to take a break here, especially in August and September. But the goal is to get the book shipped. I haven't done hardly anything on the How to Market Yourself course. Basically, it's just I'm just selling like one or two a day, which is good. Mostly just from the blog, or the email, the autoresponders. Which I know that the sales page needs to be fixed and stuff, but I just haven't had the time to do it. Until I get this book out, I think I won't really have the time.
Yeah, well, selling 1 to 2 a day, I mean, that's hard to argue with if you're not really doing anything specific to promote it. So
yeah,
that's what the discount codes usually people.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. So your autoresponder is just a full price.
Yep.
Offer. Nice.
Yeah. I'm pretty much phasing out the discount codes as much as possible at this point. And I mean, this way, because I think I'm probably going to be doing a 4th of July sale.
Right.
And that will be a chance to get a discount on
shake
there.
The tree a little bit.
Yeah, and that gives me a chance to, I don't know, this is one of those things too where I like building the relationship is important before selling the thing, because the thing is, like, someone buys this because they've been following my blog posts, listening to podcasts like this one, or and then they realize that this is something that's valuable because they like what I'm saying about other things. So that's the best way to sell it. So that's why I think that having people on the email list for a while and they're getting my content is and then selling it is the best approach.
And you opted to go with the longer, like a once a week autoresponder then? Like when people sign up, they get your regular emails plus like spaced out emails.
Yeah, once a week. It's just a 4-week autoresponder sequence. Okay. And I haven't gotten too many people through the funnel since it's 4 weeks, but like the very first email that goes out. This one goes out right away, pretty much. I've gotten a 71.9% open rate on it.
Nice. Yeah.
And a 24.9% click rate.
Cool.
So that's pretty good. I mean, the other ones start to drop off, like the week 2 is 45% open rate, or 45.7, and only a 3.2% click rate. That one probably needs to be taken out and replaced. And then after that, the third one goes to like 44.5% open, 4.3 click, and then surprisingly, number 4 goes up to almost 56% open rate.
Good subject line.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I am still waiting for Jeremy Reeves. I'm probably still going to hire him when he has the bandwidth to just do the whole sales funnel. I do believe if a proper sales funnel is set up, that and I can pump some advertising into it as well, that I could get to the point of selling 5 to 10 a day.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So are you on a waiting list with him, or?
Kind of, yeah. He's got a big client he's working with, but then I believe I'm next in queue. So
okay, that'll be really interesting. I don't know how much would be cool if you could share as much of that as possible. I'm not really sure how that would work exactly, but
I will. I mean, I'll share as much as I can. I'm sure I'll be able to share a pretty good amount. But yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, we'll see too what will happen if I finish the book and stuff, and I get this other stuff off my plate. Then really the thing that I'm not taking on any new. I always say that, but my intent is not to take on any new projects and just to start working on the sales part of this and funnel and clean up website and all kinds of things that I've kind of neglected.
Yeah.
And stuff. So.
Yeah, that's basically the mode I've been in since I shipped my book in March. So
yeah.
3 months after that, you'll be really frustrated that you haven't made any progress and you want to quit the internet. So.
Yeah. I'm thinking about that too, but someday I may actually. One day I'm just gonna be like, yeah, all right, this is the last Get Up and Code podcast, and I'm quitting the internet. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. We had that conversation last week, but I'm still thinking about it to some degree. You know, obviously I got to finish the stuff that I'm working on, but I definitely don't want to be just working for work's sake. So.
Yeah, agreed.
By the way, I'm reading an excellent book. I don't know if you've read this book.
Okay.
Atlas Shrugged.
No, I haven't read it. I've heard about it a lot. I should probably read it.
I think you'll like it. It's a pretty awesome book. It's a pretty awesome book, I think, for anyone who's an entrepreneur, as I would say. So, and I know it's a controversial book, but it's I don't know. It's the best book I've read so far, like ever.
Oh wow!
So,
she does have Ayn Rand does have a pretty strong following. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I've heard it a couple different pronunciations, but yeah. What are you liking about it? Like what resonates?
Kind of there's two things I would say. The one, the ideals in the book, like just the idea of it's very much capitalistic, like business is like there's a certain value in just like doing hard work and like doing the right thing, and by the right thing meaning what is right from a like logical economic self-preservation perspective. Like not a feel good like societal perspective, but what are you doing that drives you, that you're doing as efficiently as possible, doing good hard work basically. And then the second thing I'd say is just the descriptions. It's crazy how she describes. I mean, she's very, very wordy, but also very concise. If that, if that makes sense. So it's like the descriptions that in like a couple of sentences, she can say like several what would take someone several paragraphs to say just by the way that she describes the things. But at the same time, there's so much of it. So it's like it's like a 1,100 page book.
Oh wow!
But it's like got the content of like a 3,000 page book. If that makes sense, because there's so much packed in there. It's so.
She's got a tight writing style then.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. Like just I never read a book where the descriptions of the characters were so like just what was going on from. I can't even describe how she does it, but the way that she describes like how someone looks or how they said a sentence, not just what they said, but how they actually said the sentence, like the impression that the other character got, like is I've never seen someone do that, but she does it so effectively. It's like she describes all these things in words that but you can't describe. Like she figured out some way to describe them, which is just and sometimes the way that she describes them is by saying this is that this thing that he couldn't come up with words for, but I mean she literally actually says that sometimes, and that is the only way to describe a thing, which it's I don't know, I've just been blown away by it. Like it's very rare that a book just hooks me in, but of course I read a lot of boring stuffy books, so maybe I'm just like, wow, fiction books are awesome.
It's not a real estate invest. This is the first fiction book John has ever read. It's not real estate investing, so he's captivated.
Yeah. Well, and also,
I'll have
I
to
guess
check
that's
that out.
part of it too. Is like when I've read fiction books, and they're like, yeah, whatever. But this is actually like I feel like I'm learning things as well at the same time, even though it's a fictional. Just the way the characters are acting and some of the things that they're doing, I'm like, I could kind of apply that to my own life. So
Nice. Yeah, I think she's kind of like allegorical too. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
He's the founder of objectivism, right? Is that the?
Yeah.
So.
Couldn't define that for you.
Yeah, I couldn't really, but I will after I finish reading this book. So. But yeah, that's it. I think that's about it for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really going on. I just want to get this book done.
Yeah. That's how many pages is it going to be? You think it's going to probably be longer than you thought, right?
Oh yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, from what I heard, 250 words per page.
That's about right. Yeah.
Okay, and most of my chapters are around 1,500 to 2,000 words, and there's like 76 of them. So I think my estimate was there's going to be around somewhere between 500 and 600 pages.
Okay.
So that's a pretty long book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know what the editing process will but I mean, so far it hasn't cut anything down. So we'll see. It is definitely going to, but I want it to be a big tome. I want it to be like when you go into the bookstore and you look at this book, you're like, dang, that's a fat book. And then you flip through it and you're like, holy crap, there's like no diagrams and no code samples in this thing. This is a deal and a half, right?
Yeah.
This has got a lot of meat, a lot of content in here, not a bunch of fluffy. Because sometimes you'll open up like an 800-page book and you're like, there's nothing in this 800-page book.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of code samples that like it's like they've printed out, they've spent 20 pages printing out the entire like source code of some crap that they also printed each thing as they built it as well.
Well, it'll be like figure 1, and it'll be like this, 3 pages of code, and then figure 2 will be like the same 3 pages of code with 2 new lines.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly, just to make it feel thick, right? So this is that. My goal is like I'm thinking about like when I go into a bookstore and I look at a book, like I want, if I saw a book like this and it was like, holy crap! And not only is this book is incredibly huge, but each chapter is bite-sized because each chapter is only like 4 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
They're all like 1,500 to 2,000 words. And it's a variety of different topics. So that's kind of my goal for the book.
That was one thing I noticed about the 80/20 book was how short the chapters were, and I really liked that. Like they were all in the 4 to 6 pages range, and I felt like I could pick it up, get through an idea, get through one complete thought basically, and then put it down and pick it up again. You almost don't need a bookmark if you're reading a paper book with that type of book. Like you just remember what chapter you read.
Yeah, I think that's key. I felt the same thing with that book, and that's how I wanted my book to read. And it's some, I got some strange looks when it was like almost 80 chapters, but I think that's the way to do it because it does give you. And if you want to drill down deeper into a topic, you basically but it's another chapter, and it drills down deeper into one specific area of it. And I think that ends up working a lot better because it's just that mental thing about as you're reading that book, you feel like you're making progress. You feel like you're not even when you leave a bookmark in the middle of a chapter, with a Kindle or even with a paper one, you don't know, like sometimes you have to go back a little bit to get your context again. But if you're at a clean point. And then you're more likely to pick up the book because if you have 10 minutes and you can probably get through a chapter in 10 minutes, then you're going to pick it up. But if the chapters are long, you're like, well, if I pick up from halfway through this chapter I'm at, and then I read 10 minutes, like I'm going to spend the first 4 minutes trying to figure out what was going on before, and then and then I'm going to have that problem again. So I'll wait till I have more time.
I always do this thing where like that first paragraph that I start reading on is like a 4-minute exercise to try to I don't usually go back, but like as I'm reading, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, and kind of you're loading all that stuff back into memory, back into RAM.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, I guess I should probably get going here, unless you've got anything else
No,
you want to talk about.
I think that's all. So yeah, we'll see how this pans out here over the next. I'm gonna give it at least a month, just kind of take a little mental break from it, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, don't sweat it. I mean, you've done awesome. Like, you've accomplished more than I think you had originally set out to by far. And you're. I mean, it's a learning process, and you're making forward progress. So, and this excellent SitePoint opportunity came along through this process. So.
Right. Yeah, because if I hadn't been doing the book, we wouldn't be doing this our mastermind group probably, and we wouldn't be doing this podcast, and that's how I found out, or that's how Pluralsight found me, or SitePoint.
SitePoint, yeah.
So, yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, I think a lot of good things are going to come from that. So.
Yep.
Alrighty.
All right.
Take care.
Have a good week. See ya.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derick as we figure it out. We are the